Hey y'all, this is Wonderfully Me coming at you yet again. Yes, I'm back. There are days that are challenging and makes me wonder like, how can you keep doing this? But you got to keep doing it. I don't have one even a pair of earrings. I don't have a pair of earrings because it's a pajama chronicles kind of day. So, let me go back and just say, hey y'all, how you doing? Welcome back to my channel, Wonderfully Me. It's Pajama Chronicles Day, so I'm in my pajamas. Okay. If this is your first time here, I want to say welcome. And if you've come back, I want to say welcome back, fam. Either way, I'm glad you're here. You make me so very happy. Okay. Anywho's and anyhows. Although, as I mentioned in another video, a short video, I'm living with today's eruption. I wake up and my eyes swollen, my cheeks swollen, my lips swollen. It's just the nature of this wonderful thing called fibromyalgia. It just gets inflammation all over the place. I don't know. It just shows out when it wants to. So, yeah. I'm just gonna make it through because at the end of the day, I'm grateful that I've had another one. I'm grateful that I've been able to be here and to be able to share with you some of the things I've learned from traveling to more than 50 countries. I don't know exactly how many. I'm gonna have to like maybe actually try to count them up, but it's been more than 50 countries for sure. And I hope to visit more places. That is my goal. It is my fervent wish to travel to more places. But the thing I wanted to talk to you about today uh, is packing light. So when I realized that this chronic illness I had could potentially get worse. Now, this is back in 2012, I want to say. Yeah, this is the end of 2012. And I had taken a 2-month hiatus or sabbatical, and I went traveling in Europe for those 2 months. And yeah, I realized that when it was time to come back that I didn't want to come back, even though I had experienced a not so nice occurrence during my time. Yeah. So, and that story is coming. I'm like, this is going to be the cliffhanger. I don't really know how to do those, but this is the cliffhanger when I tell you about what happened. But anywho, at the time I was writing a uh, little blog, on what's that? Blogspot? Yeah, on Blogspot. And it was called Now What? And I was, chronicling the journeys as they were happening. So when I decided that I was going to take this longer trip, no, my bad. Before I decided to take the longer trip. That's what goes when I'm at the end and I realize like I'm not gonna get better. This is a chronic illness and it could potentially get worse. So I wanted to see and do as much as I could while I could. Okay. So in reflecting on the 2-month trip I had just had, one of the things I had written about was packing light. Okay. And I meant it both like metaphorically and spiritually and literally. Okay, I mean in all those ways because when I left on this 2-month journey, I don't know what the heck I was thinking. Like I didn't think I had enough clothes for 2 months, but I definitely tried to put them in there. I don't know what I don't know what I was thinking, as if laundromats don't exist in other places or something. I had this duffel that I had requested. One of my wonderful, wonderful, well, one of my very few wonderful bosses, D. She had given me a couple of travel gifts. One of them was my iPad, which became my lifeline, and a Timberland rolling duffel. And when I tell you I packed that thing, it had 50 pounds and 2 ounces. That's how much stuff was in there. So my destination when I flew from the US was Portugal, Lisbon to be specific. And I don't know if you've been to Portugal, but they've got something beautiful, beautiful there all over. You know what it is? These like cobblestone mosaic streets. These cobblestone mosaic streets that I loved. Oh, the patterns, different colors. Just the design I was just so like in all of these. I mean, I'm telling you, I was telling everybody, I was taking photos of every different design. I was just so floored. But let me just tell you that I was in love with them, but they weren't in love with me. You know why what they were saying? Why in the world did you bring this big tail bag with you? I had dragged this rolling duffel to Lisbon only to be met with many, many hills. Many, 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 many hills, cracks and crevices on these mosaic roads. I'm telling you, beautiful, oh, for sure, but difficult, very difficult. Sidewalks were fairly slim, by like New York comparison. I would, what I'm used to. But these roads, the actual streets themselves were very, very many of them were these like, we say cobblestones, but they're not the big cobblestones. They're like maybe like this big, each little brick or whatever. And yeah, so my first real struggle, not only trying to, because I still have never mastered Google Maps, that I've never been able to do, but not just mastering Google Maps and getting lost trying to find this hostel that I had booked to stay at, which was quite nice, I must say. And it was my first time staying at a hostel. I just want to be very clear, like, but prior to this trip, I hadn't ever stayed in a hostel. But anywho, I digress. Um, as I was trying to find this hostel, I was met with many hills and many sort of cobblestone streets, which dragging that bag, when I tell you, I was so tired. I was so worn out. It was just unbelievable. And even though I was struggling, it still didn't dawn on me in that moment that I should have packed lighter. It didn't dawn on me. Yes, I was struggling. Yes, it was uphill. Yes, da, da, da. I didn't have time to be thinking about packing light. I was in a new country where I didn't speak the language and I didn't know anyone. And here I was making my way, staying in hostels, having accommodations in a way that I've never had before, and yeah, yeah, yeah. So anywho, yeah, got there. The place I was staying was very nice, but it didn't have an elevator, and I needed to go upstairs. So now I had to drag that heavy bag upstairs. Okay. So at no point, I'm telling you from the beginning, there was no point where this bag was a good thing for me. Like, it was good in the sense that I had a bunch of stuff in there, but having that bigger bag, I didn't have packing cubes or anything like that. Like, it's so commonplace now. I just had a bag with a whole bunch of stuff in there. And I found myself very often having to dig through and grab this and grab that, and just trying to find what you're looking for. So that bag just was not doing me any favors. you know I was, of course, glad to have it. I'm not saying I did have more stuff than most people. So when an occasion arose, I was a little bit better prepared. But in hindsight, what I know now is that you really don't need to be trying to prepare for everything. You can usually finagle. You can usually finagle stuff, and so I have my ways around that now. And how to finagle things, but I packed like I wasn't. I mean, I can't even say like I wasn't coming back. I packed like there, like I said, that they're washing, that there were no laundry services, that laundromats didn't exist, that there would be no access to a washing machine anywhere, anytime, anyhow. That I was going to come back with 2 months worth of dirty clothes that I had worn till they stunk, that's what I think I was packing like. I don't even know that I gave any real consideration to how I was packing. I just put in there what I wanted to. And I'm even trying to think if I even checked the weather. I don't even think I checked the weather. Like, to know, like, oh, you really only need light clothes or whatever. I think I had a variety of long sleeve, short sleeve, sweater, jacket, just a bunch of stuff in there. I really believe I did. I didn't have the even a clue about packing light. But packing light gives you less to worry about. I've never had it happen to me, but I know people who have had their whole bag stolen. If you put all of your, good stuff in this giant bag that you got to lug around with you from place to place, and something happens where you lose it or it gets stolen or something like that, then, everything is just gone. But if you pack just enough, you're more likely to not leave it someplace that's wouldn't be a good choice. You're just like, oh, I'll just grab my bag, or I'll just take it with me. I'll just throw this backpack on. Not a big deal. Now, could I have, gotten almost as much of stuff in, or probably as much stuff in a big backpack? Sure, I probably could have. But what I also know is that even though I do have backpacks, that you don't want to carry a whole bunch of stuff on your back, especially with my health condition. I don't need to be any extra tired. I don't need to be breaking my neck down or nothing like that. I don't need to be yeah, I don't need to be carrying a backpack that's too heavy. Period. So, I could have had as much stuff and put it on my back, or I could have rolled less stuff or whatever, which is what I probably should have been doing. I mean, I was rolling it, but I should have been rolling less stuff. So, there was just no place where this was a good idea. It just was not a good idea. Like, who needed that much stuff? I didn't. I really believe that you can get away with 4 pair of pants, and this is if the weather is, like fallish, springish, right? Okay, I believe you can get away with 4 pair of pants, 3 pair of shorts, maybe one dress, one skirt, and many shirts. Maybe one that's a little bit nicer. And I always try to make that nicer shirt to be like a dark color, like black, if I'm, or like a black skirt and a black shirt. And then I usually have like a little fringed, like poncho shawl kind of thing going. And it's like a little metallic, got like a metallic glittery look through it. It dresses up everything. So if I put that on over the black outfit, it can work for anything. I've worn it to weddings. I've never been to a funeral else, but I mean, I've worn it to events, right? And never had a problem. So this is something I know now. But I just don't think that we need as many things as we think we need. And I didn't give a number on the blouses, but I said like 1 or 2 nice blouses and maybe six or seven like t-shirt type, longs, like maybe 2 long sleeve and 4 short sleeve type situation. Yeah, I say all that because I feel like you will be so prepared, and you can get that much stuff in a carry-on suitcase, no problem. A carry-on suitcase, you could. Now, the only reason why you might check it is because you're going to have like toiletries, but another what do you want to call it, like news flash, another news flash, you can buy toothpaste, deodorant, shampoo, body wash. You can buy those things. You can buy those things when you get where you're going. You don't have to have it in there. So all of the reasons why we think we need a big bag, we don't. And it really is more beneficial if you get them where you're going and don't put yourself through a whole bunch. And you'll especially, like, for instance, I was in Europe. If you want to take the less expensive carriers like Ryanair, it was like EasyJet, I think there was one more, but if you want to take one of those, I have been on flights where my seat cost less than my bag. Okay, yeah, it cost less than my bag. I had to pay for that bag because it weighed what it weighed. And yeah, so you do yourself a favor if you pack light and you have less to worry about, and you are more conscious of what you have, and how you can, what you can put, the outfits you can put together or whatever. When you've got like a gazillion pieces that may not even relate to the others, like, it's just a waste. That's what I want to say it is. It's just a waste. So I want to suggest that you do yourself a favor and pack light. It's good travel. It's good travel. Yes. And anyway, getting back to the blog, which I mentioned, and you probably say, why did you mention that? I actually wrote a blog that said pack light. I don't even know. I mean, like I said, it's the site is the blog spot. So I think it's like Follow the Redbird. Yes, it was Follow the Redbird. Follow the Redbird. And it was, the name of the blog was Now What? And it was blogspot.com. Now, I haven't been to that website in quite a while, but I believe it's still there. If for some reason you were interested in reading what I had written about packing light, but it was a life lesson. And now when I travel, especially short term, if I'm traveling for 2 weeks or a month, I'm going with one bag. If I'm going someplace, like when I travel to TZ and I'm going there for months at a time, I have one bag that's for me, and it is 50 pounds. But I put not only clothes but also like food stuff in there, that like snacks and stuff that I like, that I can't necessarily get. They aren't readily available, or they're really, really expensive there. But usually they're just not readily available. And I have one bag that I fill, because I can have two bags on Qatar. And I have one bag that I fill with things that I'm bringing for others, for people there. So sometimes it's like shoes and clothes and books and other items that someone might need, or I feel like I want to bring for them, yeah. Anywho, so I still only, even for, I might be gone for 6 months, I'm packing one bag for me, and one bag for others. That's, and that's the rule. I try to, have other people who come to visit me, I tell them the same thing. Bring 2 bags, but one for you, one to give away the things. It's just a nice thing. Anywho, anyhow, I just want to remind you to pack light. It's good travel. It saves a lot of worry and unnecessary stress and strain on your body and your mind. Okay, so until the next time, I want to remind you, because algorithm is not my friend. Algo, first name Algo, last name Rhythm. Yeah, in these YouTube streets, Algo don't care about me. So I'm asking you, all of you who know and love me, because to know me is to love me, would you please like, share, comment, and subscribe, okay? Because it means the world to me that I get to share my world with you. It really does. You just have no idea how this is giving me life. Having the opportunity to just, share the things that I've learned. It's giving me life. It's giving me new life, and I need it. Oh, I forgot to say. I said it, but I gotta say it my way. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. Yes, okay, because I like to do that. I don't know, I forget. My mind, it's all over the place. But I also wanted to say, as I like to remember each time I do a video, a long one, that it is very important. And I say this, and I want you to take it to heart. I want you to take it to heart because that's the way I mean it. Do good. Do good in a way that it benefits you and others. You and others. Don't do good just for you. Do good in a way that you are like tossing that pebble into the lake and you watching the ripples go out. Do that kind of good, because that way you are creating a legacy for yourself that is unmatched. Okay? And the other thing I like to say is be better. Be a better version of yourself today than you were yesterday, and be an even better version tomorrow. Okay? Now that I've said that, I want to thank you again for being here. As I said, it means the world to me. I get to share my world with you, and I appreciate your time, your energy, your patience with me, because I know that I just have a red wall behind me, and it's not necessarily the most entertaining or it's not moving and shaking, and it's not bah, bah, bah. I realize that. So, and I'm working on it. It's a little slow. It's a slow process. I'm a little bit older. Anywho, pack light. Do yourself a favor. Pack light. This is yet another tip from Wonderfully Me. And I will check you on the next one. Ciao for now.